Hello there. My name is the Met Enthusiast, and you're listening to the Nothin But Bricks podcast. Welcome back to the podcast. This week I have a very special guest, Jade White. Jade White, for those of you who don't know, is a brick filmer like myself and creates Lego SpongeBob videos primarily, but also makes Lego Deadpool videos, Lego Spider-Man videos, and all that other great stuff, so definitely go check out Jade's YouTube channel and her Instagram. I will leave them both in links in the description so you can go check those out. I highly recommend it. And without further ado, here is my chat with Jade White. Alright, so I am here with Jade White. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
So to start with the kind of basic question, what got you into brick filming?
Well, I'm sure you've heard of Michael Hitchcock's films, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I used to have the YouTube Kids app when I was little, and he would be all over that. I would watch it a lot. Then I was inspired by it, so I made like little stop motions. And then for some reason, when my dad was sick, I made a stop motion for him, and that kind of started the process that led to now. So, yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. What do you think it was in particular that drew you to kind of Michael Hickok's videos?
I don't know. I mean, it was fun seeing all the simple videos, like the Lego shopping one. It was cool to just see because I've enjoyed Lego all my life, and it was just so cool to see them doing all those little things. I don't know. It was just seeing them doing simple things like going shopping and stuff like that. It was very interesting for me.
Yeah, it's cool to see like even like the most mundane things, like the having the minifigure kind of come to life on screen is really
Yeah.
quite cool to see. And so at the time, would you have known that it was made using stop motion? Like, how did you find out?
I don't really know actually. It's so long. I mean, I made like my first stop motion in like 2017 or something. It might have been earlier, but like the first one I made like on my own at my house. So it's just like it's hard to really remember. I assume I knew something about stop motion though at the time. Like I do remember when I was make I oh yeah, I knew something about stop motion because there was did you ever watch did you know that they released like the Lego Batman video game cutscenes as like a DVD?
Oh, I'm not familiar with that now.
So in that DVD, it was the second game. They had all these extras, and there was one where this guy made a Batman stop motion and like showed how he did it. So I guess that might have been how I knew a little bit about stop motion.
Cool, cool.
Could have been that. So yeah.
Nice, nice. So I noticed with kind of your channel that you do a lot of Lego SpongeBob videos, and I was kind of wondering, like, what was it about SpongeBob in particular that drew you towards making videos about that theme as opposed to like DC or Marvel, like more prominently?
Well, it's just I've loved SpongeBob so much ever since I was a little kid. I would have like those DVDs constantly playing. I'd see all the movies, and since like it was just kind of I would also like along with Michael Hitchcock's films, another creator I really enjoyed, which still posts to this day, is Crazy Films 1121. He still makes SpongeBob videos to this day, and it was kind of inspiring. There's also another creator called Hack17 who made his own SpongeBob series. It was just kind of so cool seeing Lego and SpongeBob combined. And I think that kind of led me to start making my own eventually, years later.
That's pretty cool. And when you write your videos, you seem to have a lot of fourth wall breaks. So I was kind of wondering, like, where did that kind of style of writing, like, what kind of influenced that style of writing?
I think when I first started doing the fourth wall breaks, it was just kind of like I thought it would be fun to just poke fun, like, "Oh, I forgot to animate this scene," or something along those lines. And then it kind of evolved into just, like, running gags. And then now I guess I have this isn't really shown in a video because I my video making process slows down now that I'm getting higher, like, education and such. But, like, I try to get away from fourth wall breaks a lot, but I still do it sometimes. I just don't think I need to do it as much as I used to because, yeah, I feel like if I use it too much, it's kinda cheap comedy.
Right. Yeah, I think it's cool that that people can kind of try out like certain styles of writing for however long and then transition into different styles while still kind of maintaining some of that kind of style from before.
Mhm. Yeah. I used to make, like, when I would make 'cause I have a SpongeBob series, obviously, and it has, like, 30 something episodes, but if it wasn't for the pandemic, it would have, like, 10 because I would make, like, an episode a day in the quarantine, and it was just basically like SpongeBob and Patrick do something, fourth wall breaks, the end. So that's a big influence on it.
Alright, so then how long would it have taken you to make each episode?
So it's obviously, like, changed drastically over the years. I remember back in, like, 2019 when I was doing my really kinda getting into it, it was I was surprised that a video took me a few hours, and then in quarantine, I would just kind of rush through it in the day. Then as it got to, like, later months in 2020, the video started to get a little longer, which took a little bit more time, and it just kinda spiraled into where it also I think another reason why it takes me so long to make videos is I have ADHD, so it's hard for me to focus on things for too long without being distracted. So it's kind of evolved into a point where videos take months now, even though sometimes they may not need the amount of time it takes. It's just I can't focus. But yeah. Do you have any problems with focusing on videos?
I realized kind of recently that I definitely hyper focus when it comes to projects. Like if I have a project that I start on, I lose all sense of like time around me and just like keep going until it's finished. Either that or um, I kind of don't do anything uh,
Yeah.
for extended periods of time.
I definitely I've kinda as I've gotten a little older, I've kinda grown away from this, but, like, in 2021 when I was, like, making video I had 2 videos that during this time because it was, like, freshman in high school, and it was basically where every weekend I would stay up till, like, 4 in the morning, like, on caffeine to keep animating a video. But recently, I've kinda realized that that's not really healthy nor productive because I end up just getting really tired and everything looks terrible. I kinda noticed that just because 'cause you're staying up late to do it, it still doesn't mean it's gonna be good. So I need sleep.
Yeah, for sure. And I think I fall under that sometimes as well of like editing something but cutting corners because I'm like spending so much time like fixating on it, and then if I actually like take a break and then come back to it, it would be a lot better.
I have a problem with, like, editing because it's like I I always struggle to find the right sound effect. I always feel bad for putting swooshing sound effects, but it's like, what else am I gonna do in a scene? It's really hard to find sound effects, like, make your video feel not like stock sound effects. You get what I mean?
Yeah, it's like mixing and stuff like that, like sound and all that is like a whole other ball game. I feel like when it comes to like filmmaking, like it's a whole other thing you have to learn. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess it's also kind of cool that there are so many different like facets that you have to overcome and learn when getting into it and kind of doing it like over time, because then you can use those in other things going forward, whether it's like gaming videos that you'd make or whatever kind of content you make next.
Yeah, it's just kind of a revolving process.
Yeah, it's you kind of learn. I find anyway that like with every kind of animation or project that I would do, I always learn something about like each kind of facet of the process of making things.
Usually now it's like because I got Dragon Fin this time last year, and it seems like those videos since then, like I need to now my animation quality is okay, but now I need to focus on making them like visually good because I have a slight problem making everything kind of basic. So I need to figure out how to like stand out a little bit, and I'm kind of trying to branch out with like doing different lighting and stuff, but it's also pretty hard.
Yeah, I think yeah, lighting is a tricky one for me too. I was doing some test animations and one of them I tried uh without having the auto exposure on my camera, and for some reason that actually made the light flicker worse. So it's definitely a constant learning curve for me anyway.
Um, you do you use a camera to film? Because I don't see how auto exposure would help at all. I feel like it would just screw you over.
Yeah, it's weird. I used the C920 webcam and I was messing around
Ah,
with the settings just kind of to like I didn't realize that you could um have like a software that kind of changes the settings around, so I was kind of messing with them, seeing what worked, and yeah, I just kind of realized that the auto exposure works a lot better for some reason. But yeah, I guess you live and you learn.
yeah, that is interesting. I have a C922, but I've only really messed with the settings like in Dragon Frame itself. So maybe I should check that out too. Maybe I can do something. I don't know.
Yeah, that'll be cool. I think there's a good few different softwares for like controlling the camera and stuff, and I found that like for newer MacBooks, it's harder to get one that works, so, like that's compatible. Um, but yeah, they're pretty handy once they actually work with the computer.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Yeah. So who would be your kind of biggest inspirations at the moment when it comes to creating your videos?
Hmm. Well, when it comes to like lighting and stuff, I usually look to people like Jack McKean or like Lincoln Pop or something. It's like, because I know Jack personally, he usually is like all about cinematic videos. So I always kind of think in the back of my head, like, he'd probably want this to be more cinematic or something like that. But yeah, I mean, obviously, Edbound's an inspiration for like expressiveness, stuff like that. Just like, yeah, just people who can convey a lot of expression in their animations. I kind of look up to them and be like, I want to do that. Then I gotta figure out how.
Yeah, it's cool to get inspiration from someone for their specific like emphasis on one facet of something, and then to kind of take inspiration from a bunch of people from like different aspects of things, like you were saying, like cinematography, and then for Edbound it would be like the expressiveness and kind of combining everything into your own kind of style. I feel like is pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree there.
Yeah. So I guess I asked this to most guests, but some people kind of give a pretty surface level answer, then some can give like a more deep kind of answer. So it's whatever you're feeling. But what is Lego to you?
Um, I mean, I think Lego when I was a kid just was kind of like representing it was just like just a toy to me. But now I don't really see Lego as a toy anymore. I see it as like a vehicle to make stories. Like I never buy Lego just to have it usually. I usually buy it because I'm like, well, I could use this for something because I have all this Lego now, a lot, but all of it I kind of want to use for videos. Like, if I wasn't making videos, I don't know if I'd still be that interested in Lego to the degree I am now, just because it means a lot to make the stop motions, even though it's kind of difficult to find motivation sometimes, like right now.
Yeah, I'd be the same. Like I feel like it's definitely what you're saying. Like I'd be less likely to buy a set if I didn't think, oh, this I could get use out of this for a video, or like
Mhm.
I guess kind of trying to justify buying it in my head in some way. Um, but yeah, that's really cool. Yeah.
So the thing I mentioned about like motivation, like for example, my recent video, I was I wrote the video and then I started production early summer and I was like really motivated. I was going at it. Then I went on vacation and when I came back, it was such a struggle to finish. It's a problem I have sometimes that the motivation is just gone. But I'm so excited at the beginning. I have to like work on figuring out a way to not lose that motivation because then it just feels like a chore and that's not as fun.
Yeah, I feel like when setting out to do longer projects, anyway, it's like at the start it's exciting and you have this kind of energy and vision, and then by the end of it, it's like, when is this gonna be over?
Yeah, I usually find myself, like, at the end I mean, I don't know, it's not really that apparent, but I always feel like towards the ends of videos, I'm cutting corners just to get it done. Like, in my script, it'll say something, but I'm like, "I don't wanna do that," or cut it out or something. I shouldn't do that, but it's just, like, that happens sometimes.
Yeah, it's I guess corner cutting sometimes is good. I guess when it's like to prevent kind of burnout and stuff. Like if it's a longer form project, I remember my first kind of big project that I did. There was a lot more in the script than what I actually like made, um, which I guess I could have spent more time on it. But I just remember at the time thinking like I just prefer to get through the animation and get it done, as opposed to kind of ticking every box, I guess. And I was also
Yeah.
by the end of it too, I guess, pretty like pretty wiped out, I guess.
With my most recent video again, the Mandalorian one, I did do something which I might try to do with other projects because it was a video that was long, but I was trying to get as much done as I could before I finished vacation. So I experimented with like filming out of order because usually I'll just film start to finish. But honestly, filming out of order might be the best way for me because I can get the easy scenes just done right away. And as long as there isn't such a notable difference, like I filmed the ending for my video like 2 months before the video came out. And then the final scene I filmed was like in the middle of the video, if you get what I mean. Like it's just it's interesting,
Yeah, it's
but yeah.
yeah, that's pretty cool. Like when there's like certain sets that are kind of reoccurring, um, it's cool to kind of get to shoot it all at once. But yeah, it's cool to get to kind of chop through the script, because then it's also, I guess, like um, kind of like keyframing, the way you put things like in in the right spots and then fill in the gaps in between.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, I think experimenting and kind of always, well, not always, but like changing um, the way that things are made is always, well, it's cool to try anyway.
Yeah. It's usually a good process.
Yeah. So the next question I have is, how did A Brick Too Many come to be?
So I remember specifically the day it came to be, and it was just like Mail Soul, the main guy. He just kind of put us all in a group chat and was like, I think we should be a group. Anybody who doesn't want to be in this should leave. And then we all just kind of stayed. And while the group really has kind of just I mean, now the group doesn't really mean anything anymore. Like, we're all kind of busy with our own lives now at this point. Like, we're busy with our own projects or school or whatever, but it's still kind of fun to be in that group and talk to them occasionally.
Nice, yeah. It's always cool to see like a big group of brick filmers come together to do one kind of big project together. I think that's really quite cool. So yeah, you're saying that you're more busy now and everything. Um, are there any plans for that channel or the projects that that channel might involve in the future?
We had a few projects planned, but I'm unsure if they're even gonna happen. Like, you know, like, Mayoso and Sonos are still like, "We could do this," and it's like, "Yeah, we could," but at the same time, I know we'll never actually do it probably because 'cause we're all busy with our own stuff. So, who knows? Maybe we'll all miraculously be online at one time and something will happen, but seems unlikely, in my opinion.
Yeah, fair enough. I think trying to balance like brick filming and normal things can be difficult because it takes so long uh, to just make videos and stuff, and also life gets in the way too, I guess.
It definitely seems like for me, like, with the thing you said about balancing, I feel like I did it wrong because I was a very, like, social person before the pandemic, and the pandemic happened, and I kinda engrossed myself in brick filming and such, and then I had now my social skills are just they just died. Like, I can still talk to people. I can't, like, talk to people enough to form a friendship, but there's always brick filming to turn back to, so pros and cons.
Yeah, I feel like the isolation type stuff definitely contributed to that for me as well. With just socializing in general, I think yeah, I definitely went down a peg in terms of socializing skills, I guess. Um,
Mhm.
that's interesting though that or cool, I guess that there was that thing during the pandemic that you were able to kind of stick with, I guess, the brick filming.
It is It is very odd because, like, the pandemic was a time of, like it was very dangerous for everyone, the coronavirus, especially early, but I guess it was for me since all my family was really good about, like, staying inside, nobody went out. My dad, when he would get groceries, like, masked, we all washed our hands, so we never got COVID until the till later on when it wasn't really a problem anymore, so I'm kinda I at least me personally, I'm still kinda nostalgic for those circumstances, but I know other people had very difficult times then, so it is a good thing we're not in those circumstances anymore. But like the events that happened with me, are still kind of nostalgic. Like just being in my room, hanging out, doing online school, you know.
Yeah, I feel like I'd be the same in terms of the kind of nostalgia and the, I guess, having a lot of, in getting a lot of enjoyment out of just kind of being a bit more reclusive, I guess.
I do remember I was reclusive to the point where my parents I would come downstairs and they'd be like, "Who are you? What's your name? I haven't met you before," and they would kind of make like a little bit of fun of me for being in my room all the time, but it was in good faith.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, I think, yeah, that the pandemic was definitely a big kind of boom for the brick filming community. It seemed with like a bunch of people kind of joining the community, and then I realized, well, I was thinking recently, like, I wonder what happened to this person in the community and this person. And then I kind of realized, like, well, they've probably just gone back to normal life because of the pandemic not being as much of an issue now.
It is very interesting the changes like my stop motion skill went through in the course of just 2020 because when it started, I was filming with like all gray base plates on a Canon camera, which I still have now, but I don't really like it anymore and I don't use it because it's too bulky for my taste. I like the webcam now better. But basically, I went from filming on like a shaky webcam to an iPhone, and it was like the quality just improved. But if quarantine didn't happen, who knows where I would be at? It was just the constant, like I was animating like every day basically. It was crazy.
Yeah, it's weird how much you can improve from just having being able to have the time to just kind of sit down and focus on it
Hmm.
for that long.
Yeah.
Are you excited for any upcoming Lego sets at the moment?
Um, I don't know. Like I I I mean now I'm blanking on all the upcoming Lego sets, but I assume there's at least a couple I want. But I guess it's the case of like I'd want it, but I won't end up buying it just because Lego's really expensive nowadays. Like they really up their prices for sets that shouldn't be that expensive.
Yeah, yeah,
So that's a little. And then like recently I was excited to get the minifigure packets, and I kind of I don't know if I said this on Instagram, I forgot, but basically I got 5 Wolverines. Like it kinda bit bit me in the back, like, it was not it was not good, so now I'm just kinda like, I should probably just order these online because yeah, those packs aren't really I can't feel them, so I don't know what I'm getting.
yeah. I've I've actually kind of had a weird experience with like I guess the bags. It is a bit kind of hit or miss sometimes, or or kind of all the time. But yeah, the Bricklink prices too. Like you'd see something that's at least for me because I'm in Ireland. It's the shipping is crazy expensive, and you don't actually like get the shipping price until like after inquiring about the order kind of thing most of the time. So
It seems like I haven't ordered off Bricklink that much, and it's just a case of where, like, usually I'll find a great seller, exactly what I wanted. Then the minimum buy is like I can't even max out the product. Like, it still won't fit the minimum buy, and it just turns me off. Like, I feel minimum buy is kind of stupid, but that turns me off of Bricklink specifically.
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah,
I get I this may be a stupid thing, and it's only kind of like, backfired once. I usually get most of my Lego off eBay, which is kinda stupid, but, like, for all the SpongeBob things I'm using, I'm obviously not gonna get them brand new, so I'd rather just buy it, like, used and stuff.
yeah. That's fair enough. So what would have happened the time that it didn't go so well with using eBay?
So, actually, I'm just remembering now twice. So, once, back in 2021, I was making a Spider-Man Christmas video, and Spider-Man goes to the North Pole in that video, and I was thinking, "Well, I didn't have that many Lego bricks and, Lego actual Lego brick pieces. Of course, they have, like, Lego pieces. I think you know what I mean, though.
Yeah,
So, I had some tan ones and some, like, gray ones, but I didn't have any red. So I ordered off eBay, like, the red. It said it was coming in October, and then it was, like, which mid-October, so I was like, "Okay, I can start filming soon." And then around, like, Thanksgiving time for us Americans, it still wasn't even there, and that was concerning because Thanksgiving was supposed to be the time I work on most of the video, and so I ended up having to order it off a different person. And then most recently, I kinda because I spent a lot of money on the packs just trying to get everything that I kinda gave up and just ordered the remaining figures I needed, Kate Bishop, Moon Knight, and She-Hulk off eBay. Moon Knight and She-Hulk were fine, but for some reason, the seller gave me another Echo figure instead. But I haven't reached out to the seller because I don't wanna go through the process of returning something because then I have to pay more money. So that's kind of interesting.
yeah. I guess it can also be a bit hit or miss sometimes too. With you never really know like what the person selling their kind of intention. Like you never really know their intention, I guess. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, but I guess yeah, it's good that for the most part it's gone well with using eBay anyway.
Hmm.
So what would be your like all time favorite brick film?
Mm. It's really hard because I have like because there are some brick films, like for example, my most popular brick film, the Lego SpongeBob movie, where it's like I love that brick film. I remember making it. It's like very fond memories, but the animation is terrible. And then also it has a person that does some of the voices that I'm not too had a falling out with. So it's kind of like I like those that era of videos I've made, but it's hard to watch them now. And then there's recent videos I've made, like my Halloween special from last year, like my Hitman video, where I really enjoy like my difference in animation. So I guess I don't have a favorite video, but I have like favorite like eras of my channel, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's cool to be able to kind of look back and see how things have changed and also like see like you're saying the different eras. Um, it can be quite nostalgic too, like with like remembering, oh, I made this during lockdown or during like this specific time in my life I did this big project or stuff like that. I think is
Yeah.
it's cool to be able to look back on.
This may be concerning, like if I tell someone else about this or like tell people that usually most of my memories, like when it comes to like seasons of like a year, I'll usually just remember the brick film I did and it's something else. Like the main thing I remember from like Christmas last year is making a brick film. Same with Halloween, which some would say that's kind of concerning, but like I don't know. I spent a lot of time doing it that it kind of just engulfs my life a little bit at that point.
Yeah, I feel like when it's also something that you'd have like passion around as well, it's and like that is enjoy that something that is very enjoyable to it. It would I I guess make sense to like be kind of still thinking around. Like I'd be pretty similar. I'd say like if I'm thinking like, oh, 2020, that was the year I made this project, and then 2021 I did this. So yeah, I'd be pretty similar. I think maybe it's like um, that kind of passion just kind of creates uh, positive memories associated with the times that you would have made the brick films in.
It's also kind of fun looking back to like it's fun thinking of how like as you go back in your brick film career, like you're less hard on yourself, so it's kind of fonder memories. Because now I'll like redo a shot like 20 times. Like this does not look right. But I bet if I did the same, if I was working on the same video a couple of years ago, I would just kind of make it and be done, which would not be good for the quality of the video, but for the vibes of the video production, it's probably more fun.
Yeah, and I think it also kind of goes back to what I was kind of saying earlier of like uh, taking a break and then coming back actually like helps the project and also like
Hmm.
spending more time to really like flesh it out more can really to really just kind of like make it as good as you can make it really is kind of um, definitely something I've tried to do more of. And I guess it is kind of frustrating to look back on old projects and think like, oh, here's where I cut a corner. I could have done this, and
Hmm.
then, but then, um, I guess at the time it's also I just want this done kind of mentality. So it's a bit of a back and forth, I guess, for me anyway.
It's also very interesting to try and put yourself in the shoes of your younger self when looking at these videos. Like I'll be watching a video I made in like June 2020, and like the lighting is so clearly off, the voice acting cuts out randomly, stuff like that, and I'm just like, well, I just don't understand how past me was like, "Wow, this is a good product," but I guess it's just you change over time and your standards rise.
Yeah, for sure. I was speaking with Storm the Blank recently, and he was saying along the lines of like uh all the like biggest artists and things like that would say like if you are kind of looking back at an older kind of project creatively and you don't like it or you have things that you'd want to fix about it, then that's kind of a sign that you're kind of growing as an artist or a creative, I guess.
Yeah, and circling back a little bit on the break thing, like, I'm in an interesting spot with, like, breaking for brick filming right now because, like, I finished a video, my last video in, like, the middle of August, and I've just, like I barely animated anything for, like, a month now, and I wanna get back into it, but then also I'm like, I'm kind of enjoying just not animating for a little bit. So it's interesting. But I definitely wanna keep doing it. It's not like I wanna quit or something. I just need to find the motivation to get back at it again.
Yeah, I think for myself, I remember when I was like making the longer form stuff, doing kind of shorts in between like short sketches or short videos was kind of like what kept me kind of wanting to make the longer videos. And it's kind of weird too because after making the super long videos that you'd think would be kind of like the more the ones that you'd be more proud of, I guess, at least for me. But then it's also like um, with the shorts, it's like you learn so much from the longer project that by the time you start
Uh-huh.
the shorter sketch, it's much more. It just looks much better and is much higher quality. So then you end up kind of favoring it.
Yeah. With, like, the longer videos, usually, like, making it, I feel like it's a similar mindset to the school week. Like, the school week mindset, just get to Friday. It's like, just get the video over, and then when the video is over, you're really happy because you can appreciate this, like, final video, and you can, like, watch it and be like, "I did that." The process in between is not that fun sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So would burnout be something that you would kind of experience a lot of, or
Mm, it doesn't it seems like I definitely didn't experience burnout a lot more than I do now. Like, it's definitely the thing where it's like, after school, I just wanna kinda relax, and I'm like, I'll save animating for the weekend," and I'll get distracted over the weekend, so it seems like I do have less time to brick film, but it's like, I don't know, burnout happens sometimes. It's I haven't really kept track of how much it's happening, but doesn't seem like it happens a lot until recently.
right? Yeah, I'd say it's for the majority of people. I'd imagine it's kind of inevitable that it would happen at some point. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I guess it is kind of I guess a tricky kind of thing to try and navigate because I guess for me too, like looking back on my own projects and thinking like, oh, I had so much drive to make stuff at this point, um, and then like, not that I wouldn't now, but I guess if I do get burnt out and then look at the old stuff, it's like, wow, look at all this drive that I had for creating things.
I do think a way to cure my burnout personally would be to watch some of those, like, creators I mentioned earlier. I feel like that could definitely get me back on track, which I might even do, but it's just a thing of you gotta get that motivation back, but you can't force it because if you force it, you're just gonna dig your hole deeper and you're gonna get more burnout. You gotta, like, get motivated naturally. You can't really force yourself to brick film. It's a very focused process.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think I'd be the same with like trying to, I guess, get inspiration and motivation from like people in the community or like Ed Bounds videos, or just seeing kind of like watching brick films, like other people's stuff that they've made, and I guess seeing other brick filmers improve over time as well is like, oh, that's what I'm striving towards as well. So that's kind of what keeps me going motivation wise too, I think.
It's always very cool to see a brick filmer improve because usually with me, I'll be following some brick filmer and I'll see like a couple of their videos, but it's like it's just kind of added into the background, like I don't recognize them a lot. And then you'll watch a recent video and they've like improved tremendously, and you're like, oh my God, what the hell? And it's always so cool to see that. Like, wow, they've improved so much over so little time.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's also kind of cool when well, I guess like for me it's a bit, it's not great for like the person creating it, but like uh having like a long people who do like long projects, I guess, and then put out a long project and then start on the next one. When people would watch the first one, they'd think, oh, this is like the skill set that this is like the level this person is at right now. And then well,
Yeah.
but then they're actually like doing much better at a much higher level of like production value and stuff.
I actually I actually thought of an example of this. So, are you familiar with Paradox Pictures' Spider-Man series?
Not really, no.
Well, I can't really describe it because it's like the Lego Batman videos on YouTube. They're all pretty much the same. But when you watch his series, it starts off as just like when he was in like middle school or something. Like the sets are terrible. They're barely moving. It's like a little kid voice and stuff. Then you watch the final episode, it came out like a year ago, and it has like all this amazing voice acting, a beautiful score, and it's like really crisp images. It's crazy to see people improve. It's really cool to watch.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And like being, I guess, the person that might be a bit like perceived in a certain way until a new project is released, and then it's like, oh, they've really upped their game, kind of thing is really cool. Um, yeah, I think for myself anyway, that's definitely like I'd feel maybe pressured to show like, no, I'm actually like on a much higher level than this old video that I made a few years ago, or something like that.
I have a I have a question for you if that's all right.
Yeah, yeah,
So, at least for me, as I've gotten into high school and as like casually mentioned in passing that I do brick filming, I find that people are just like flabbergasted by the fact. Like, how do people in your life react to the fact that you're an animator? Not like people that like personally know you, like your family, like people at school or something, because they're like, oh, it's like, whoa, no way. At least for me.
yeah. That's an interesting one. I guess it's very much been a, I guess, a mixed kind of bag. Um, Mainly, I guess, I don't know if it's the same in other countries, but I guess in Ireland the culture will kind of be for like guys anyway, like to be like play sports and
Hmm.
you know, do like play video games. I guess that's been a more kind of recent thing, but I guess when I was younger it was like play sports and be outside all the time. So like
Yeah.
I guess I've never been the sporty type, so kind of deviating from that and um, creating things that were kind of out of the ordinary for my, I guess, what my peers might be making. Um, I guess there's maybe a bit. It's definitely getting better now. I think in terms of like that kind of lad culture that Ireland has, but like um, yeah, I think it was definitely hit or miss with people because of that kind of idea there of like, oh well, we could be playing sports right now. Why are you telling me about a Lego Marvel video that you made or something? yeah, but there were people who thought it was pretty cool as well, like you were saying
Hmm.
with your experience. And yeah, I guess, have you ever had any negative experiences with like public perception?
So I know Ireland and um and America have very different school systems. Like I know you guys have two schools, or we have three, I think. But like I don't know what it would be for you, but in like middle school for me, which is like ages 11 to like 14, maybe 13. It's hard to remember. Basically, that's when I really picked up brick filming. And it was just kind of like I mean, I remember towards like the end of middle school, I would be like, yeah, I do brick filming, and I'd like show it off sometimes, but it wasn't really a thing. And then when I got to high school, which has been like 2021 to now, like I've mentioned it to some teachers, and I even did some like Lego projects for like I did a Lego video for driver's ed on like what not to do when driving. They were very impressed with that. And then recently, I had this interesting thing in Spanish class where last year I have the same Spanish teacher. She found my YouTube channel and she thought that was great. And then this year she kind of like shouted me out to the whole class. It was very interesting. We were doing this activity where we had to say in Spanish, like say something, be like, I know how to do. And for me, I put animation, and she was like, guys, did you know there's like an animator in this class with a YouTube channel with thousands of subscribers? And I thought that was very interesting.
Oh yeah, that sounds really cool, and it's cool that the teacher, that your Spanish teacher has taken an interest in it too, and
Hmm.
that it's like kind of being spread around a bit too. Um, like, I guess it's cool to see the different communities of people uh, reacting to the things that you make. Like within the brick filming community, it's like, oh, I kind of know what to expect with like the reaction that I get, because people understand brick filming in the brick filming community. So it's interesting to see the different types of communities' reactions to brick filming in general, I guess.
I also try not to like share my stuff with people like at school or stuff too much because I always feel like I feel bad about it. It's an awkward feeling. Like I feel really weird like holding my phone and being like, look at this thing I made. I just feel weird about it. So I usually don't go about doing it too much. That's probably just like anxiety or something. But it's a very odd feeling where I'm just like, oh God, this does not feel good. Like displaying it, like holding up my phone, being like, look what I made. I don't know. Very weird.
Yeah, I in school I definitely wouldn't have like gone up and shown people my stuff or anything, but I guess on social media and stuff I would have been posting about it to try and get, I guess, traction online. And then that brought a lot of people from my school's attention to it, I guess, which is good and bad, I guess.
Uh-huh.
Because I mean, I got views, so that wasn't the worst thing. But yeah, I guess had I kept it more, I guess, close to my chest and just with a circle of like more trustworthy people, I feel like it would have maybe gone over better.
Um, so you know how you mentioned social media earlier, like Instagram and such.
Yeah,
Like, it's very interesting how social media is affecting my like brick film place in the community because like I was in like a group of people like we would kind of knew each other and stuff in 2019 before the pandemic, but 2020 I got Instagram, and that's really when I kind of started to feel that the brick filming community, like being present with it. Then I also met so many brick filmers that I wanted to met. Like, I mean, you hit me up on Instagram to do this. We both saw each other on Instagram. It's just like I would have not known so many creators if it wasn't for Instagram. So it's very interesting.
yeah, definitely. And yeah, it is really cool to discover that it's like, oh, there's a whole community of people here that are doing the exact same thing that I'm doing right now. Um, yeah, it's just really cool to have that sense of community, that like, oh no, I'm not like the odd one out. There are tons of people that do this and make really cool stuff as well.
Yeah, I agree there.
So yeah, I was wondering because you do a lot of voice acting for your own videos and some of some other people's videos too. So I guess I was just kind of curious, like what was your favorite kind of character or project to do voice work for?
I usually enjoy doing voice work for myself. There's actually a specific reason why usually I voice the main characters in my videos. It's just because it makes it easier. I feel bad giving people like, here's 100 lines. I always feel I don't want to do that usually. I would just feel terrible about it because it's so much. But so usually I enjoy. I guess my favorite thing to voice would probably be when I do like my Patrick voice or something. I enjoy that. I like it. And then also, like, the voice I did for Mr. Krabs, like, I used to do that in 2020. Then when I do it now, it creates, like, a burning sensation in my throat. I don't think it's good for my throat. I should not do it, but oh well.
Right. Yeah, I think it was just yesterday actually. I was doing some voice acting that involved screaming, like yelling, and I was trying out,
Mhm.
I guess, testing the waters, like how to yell into the microphone without peaking. So there was a lot of yelling happening, and then yeah, it definitely put a strain on my voice yesterday. But it is. I feel like a lot of brick filmers that I talk to definitely um, do a lot of their own voice acting for like the sake of convenience, and also
Yeah.
like then it becomes kind of, it seems to kind of become a thing of like uh, becoming passionate about voice acting because of needing to do it. Um,
Mhm.
so kind of like discovering another kind of facet of something while making brick filming at the same time.
I just thought of this, like, I also remembered another I always love voicing for Corey Pine Studios, another Irish person. Um, I really enjoy voice acting whenever he hits me up because just it's always fun to voice act him whatever he wants me to do.
Yeah, cool. I think for me anyway, more recently, I think voice acting in other people's stuff has been a lot of fun because it gives me a bit of insight into what people are up to, kind of behind the scenes. Kind of helps me too with someone else's perspective on like my voice acting, and then I can use the kind of feedback that I get in my own videos. So it's kind of a positive cycle, I guess, of
Mhm.
speaking with other people, and like you're saying about how like there's a community on Instagram and everything, like discovering more people in the community through responding to like a casting call or something like that.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah, for sure. So what's next in terms of like brick films and projects that you might have in the works?
Well, I figured like this because I've been like kind of also along with my burnout, I've been like out of ideas. So I was like, well, I still want to make a Halloween video because even though I don't really care when I started YouTube, I really cared about the views, but I don't really care anymore. But I do recognize that I have to upload semi consistently or my channel is going to be killed. So, like, I figured I'd do, like, some sort of trailer recreation for, like, from Scream for Halloween because those are my favorite Halloween movies, and then I'll make something for Christmas. It's just I have to figure it out. I got like, little threads of ideas floating around in my head, but I need to, like, narrow in, the specifics.
Yeah, cool. I think the trailer recreations or like Lego recreations in general are always pretty cool.
Mhm.
Because there's kind of loads of different styles too that you can do within that, of like going for the realism type thing, of like going for shot kind of a thing, or adding in gags because it is kind of Lego, like in the Lego games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's always interesting and really cool as well to see those kinds of projects.
Hmm.
But yeah, what kind of it like if you could have any IP be made into a Lego set, what would you want to see Lego create?
That's a hard one. Um, there are many different things I want Lego to make. There's so much IP. Um, I mean, it's hard because like if I could just pick right now immediately, I'd probably just say for them to make more SpongeBob sets, probably. But if it was like if it was something new, I would actually want them to actually make Lego Adventure Time sets because I really want those figures. I don't want to pay $30 for a Lego Finn minifigure because of like Lego Dimensions is cool and all, but it kind of sucks that they made all these licensed figures and you just can't get them anymore.
Yeah, I feel like it, it kind of opened up this kind of door to like, well, legally they're clearly able to make these things, so why aren't they making them into sets?
I mean, I guess I understand, like, specifically with Adventure Time why they won't because because the cartoon, like, the main cartoon isn't out anymore, it's finished, and while there are certainly, like, more things out there, it's more for, like, the engaged fans, not for general audiences, so I could see why LEGO wouldn't wanna do it, and there's also, like I'm pretty sure the reason they haven't made SpongeBob sets is because they, like, lost a license or something, so licensing is probably an issue there too, but we can dream, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I guess there's always a lot going on behind the scenes and everything that I guess I definitely don't think about that as much
Mhm.
when thinking about like what could be made into a Lego set. But I guess yeah, like you're saying, it is more of a I guess a niche kind of theme that not as many people might be buying.
So, like, I understand, like, I feel like you said, like, Lego making another theme. Honestly, it seems to me like at this point they won't probably make too many new themes. It seems like they have a core set of themes that work well for them, City, Marvel, Star Wars, and they have like Ninjago and Friends. Seems like and then the minifigure packet. It seems like they're pretty set, honestly.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of a shame, I guess, to that I guess those are the like main very mainstream ones, and then they are kind of somewhat, I guess, with like Lego ideas and stuff. There's a bit of a glimmer of hope that they'll do some other cool stuff too. Not that like the big themes aren't cool, but just that there are more uh, themes out there than just the big ones that they're focusing on, I guess.
Honestly, for me, the problem with Lego ideas is at least in my opinion, personally, they pick the worst sets to be made into things and then they just disregard the ones. Like, did you know there's been a Lego Krusty Krab on the idea set and it makes it to 10,000 supporters like every single time, consistently, every year, and they ignore it every single time. And it makes me a little sad every time because I'm like, people clearly want this, but they can't.
Yeah, I was also thinking about it recently, and like it's weird how they kind of cap it off at exactly 10,000 and they don't actually show what the most voted one was. I feel like if they had that kind of system where once you reach 10,000, it's kind of a competition of like whoever gets the most votes would have the set made, as opposed to like them kind of taking them all and deciding themselves. I think it would be a lot more kind of fair for the fans anyway to be able to do a different kind of system than the one that they're operating under at the moment for Lego ideas anyway.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, would I rather have like Lego Legends of Zelda or a Lego piano? Then Lego was like, you obviously want a piano or something. It's like that, where it's just kind of like, damn.
Yeah, um, yeah, it's pretty frustrating because, well, at times anyway, because just yeah, frustrating to see It also is like a lot of companies do it, but it's like not being really in touch with what the people are saying or what they want, and just
Hmm.
kind of going with what looks best for like the business, or like having like the really old, out of touch people picking things most of the time, and uh, yeah, it's not great, that kind of way of doing things, I guess.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree with that there.
So to close out the podcast, I guess, is there anything that you would like to plug or promote?
I guess just subscribe to my YouTube channel, Jade White, and follow me on Instagram, Jade White Lego, I guess. Stuff will be coming out sometime in the future.
Awesome, yeah, and thanks so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you. This was very insightful. I didn't expect to be enjoying the conversation like this much. It's very, very nice.
Awesome, yeah, it was a lot of
Yeah.
fun. Yeah.
Hmm. Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, no worries, yeah. So that was my chat with Jade White. Thanks again to Jade White for coming on the podcast. Definitely go check out all her stuff on YouTube and Instagram. Links will be in the description. If you enjoyed this podcast, a like and a comment would be greatly appreciated. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're watching this on the YouTube version. If you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, be sure to give it a 5-star rating. That would be greatly appreciated as well, and it would really support the show. So, yeah, thanks so much for listening and tuning in, and I will see you all in the next episode of the Nothing But Bricks podcast.